Hello, all. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals. We're here for another segment and another episode of our podcast. With me is John Ferguson from Ferguson Moving. He's here with us. How you doing, John?
Doing great. How you doing, Yuri?
Good. How's Texas this morning?
Freezing.
I can see that in the background. It makes it very.
Well, yeah, that picture was probably taken in the spring. I don't know, but yeah, it was below freezing this morning. I went for a bike ride this morning and about froze my hands off. So
Yeah, it's pretty cold in Maryland as well. Rainy.
Oh yeah, you're in Maryland. It's probably, what am I talking about? It's probably nothing compared to what you guys got going on.
It's not too bad, but let's get back to us here. So, John, what got you interested in the moving industry? How did you get started? When did you get started?
So in high school, I played football, and a friend of mine, or a guy on the team, he would work for his uncle who had a moving company, still does here in town, and he would, at lunch be telling stories of, his days on the truck. I guess he would work in the afternoons or on the weekends, and he said, man, it's such a hard job. It'll get you so ready for football. He's like, man, we're moving refrigerators up and down stairs. And I'm just like, are you serious? That sounds awesome. I want to do that. That sounds like exactly the perfect job for me. I'm like 16 and all I do is lift weights and eat and play football. And it just sounded like a dream job for me at the time. So I didn't start working there until like right after I graduated high school. Because he was talking about long days, like 16-hour days. And I was like, well, I'm probably gonna need to graduate before I try to do any of that. So right after I graduated, I went and got a job. It was pretty much right down the street from where I lived. I was able to walk to work in about 20 minutes and walk back if I needed to. There was one time where my parents had actually hired this company to move like a piano, and they sent like a couple of, just big brutes over to the house, and they brought in this 4-wheel dolly, and I was just so intrigued by it. I was just like, what? How are you guys going to move this piano? And then they lifted it up and set it on the 4-wheeler and rolled it out. And I was just, like a kid. I was just like, this is awesome. I want to do that. And knowing that was my friend's uncle's business, I was just like, man, I'm totally into this idea of moving. And I thought it was kind of like, how is this even a thing? Like, people just hire you to go move their stuff? It's too cool. I don't know. I was just intrigued with it from a young age. Well, 16.
Yeah, we got a moving lifer over here. Gotcha.
I was just so intrigued by the whole concept, the idea. It's just heavy lifting and you get paid for it. And yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to me. So when I first got hired over here at it's called Move West. He's still around, old guy. His name's Roger. Everybody always thought I was his son when I'd go out on jobs. I guess we looked alike. It's funny. My wife thinks all of us, we look alike. But
yeah, you could get her to watch this podcast. She'll find out that's not entirely true.
I'm like, hey, look at Yuri.
Yes, because I look like such a mover. Although I have actually, in case people think that I haven't, I have actually been on actual moving jobs. I have lifted furniture. I've done all of it, not just sales. So operations, everything.
No, it's good. It's good for you to have that experience of any kind, just to help know what you're talking about.
I'd like to think I generally do, but
Yeah, no, no, man, you do. You know what you're talking about. It's cool, especially, you know, maybe not having as much experience on the truck as like me or somebody else. I mean, it just goes to show you don't really have to have a whole lot of time on the truck to be able to pick it up if you're really smart, which I think you are.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I
But
appreciate
yeah,
that.
I loved when I first got hired at working at Move West, working for Roger, just going in every day. Just I don't know. I started to kind of feel like a real man. It was kind of weird, Like I'd always watch my dad just get up and go to work every day, and he was a blue collar kind of guy. Worked at the power plant, and he worked shift work, graveyards, all kinds of stuff. So I started to kind of identify with him a little more, like, hey, I'm like a working man too, Dad. but yeah, it was hard work.
Yeah, the things we start to do, especially when we get older, and it's like, you got family, you got kids, you start thinking about that, and it's just, you definitely want to feel like you are doing everything you can to put your family in the right state of mind. I mean, that's what got me started with what I'm doing today. I got tired of working for the man, so to speak, and that's where, among other things, where this came from. Honestly, when I started, I never thought I would own a business, but here we are. But getting back to John, which he's much more interested than I am at this point. I can, but
no, yeah. I never really thought about owning a business ever in my life. When I was growing up. Well, I thought about it once. I remember talking to my parents one time, and it said, a friend of mine, his dad was a contractor. He built houses and stuff, and I thought, how come y'all don't do something like that, and start your own business? And because my dad, he slaved away day in and day out, and we didn't have a lot. Like I had 5 sisters, so there were 6 of us.
That would be rough.
6 kids on one income. My mom took care of us at home, and yeah, I guess I posed the question after fighting with my mom one day at Kmart, trying to get her to get me some slightly more expensive shoes than what she was offering me. And I was kind of upset about it, but I just had to take what I could get, because we just didn't have the money. And she was like, being in business is great until it's not. It's feast or famine. You don't know what they go through.
Until you start doing it, because it's like, you have, on one side, you have your family that you got to feed, right? But on the other side, once you have a business, once you have employees, you have all these people that are relying on you. So they're relying, now you have to, get them work so that they can feed their family on top of feeding your own. So it's like, you definitely have this weight on your shoulders of responsibility for the people. It's like, they always say that you're responsible for who you, adopt, or who you grow, so to speak. That's part of your everyday life, and that's definitely something that I can identify with so much, because that's what we're here. I mean, that's one of the reasons we've come up with the idea of podcast, because ultimately, I'll be honest with you guys, ultimately our goal here is, hopefully we get lots of subscribers and lots of likes, and hopefully that leads to us putting, a mug with a logo in the back somewhere that pays us money, that allows me to pay my workers more, allows me to give them more benefits and stuff like that. That's the reality. We want to make sure we take care of our people. Yeah, I mean, obviously we all have ulterior motives. Obviously we all want to have a good living that allows us to have that with our family and stuff like that, but ultimately we're also worried about people that we have with us. They're relying on us, or they're relying on things being creative, and you're coming out with ideas and such, Like, see, like John was just drinking a mug. We could get in a mug with a logo. You want your logo?
Yeah, I should
support us. We could get that in there. No problem.
Yeah, right? Send me a mug.
We can do that. We can do that on our podcast. We're totally with it. Like I said, if it allows us to do that type of stuff. But getting back to what we're talking about, so we've talked about some challenges. How would you say when you actually did open up your own moving company, how did you overcome those challenges?
Oh man, at first looking back, it's been 17 years since I started officially to do my own thing. And it's like, it was simple back then. I had an ad in the paper. I had a cell phone. I had one truck stocked with all my equipment. And I had a friend who was waiting on a job. He had nothing else going on, and he was willing to help me if I ever got any jobs. Well, yeah, I was just taking a nap one day, and all of a sudden the phone rang for the first time, and the people wanted to move right then and there. And I said, hold on, let me call you right back. And I called my buddy and I said, hey, you free right now? I think I got a job. And he said, yeah, I'm not doing anything. So I called the lady back. I said, yeah, we're available right now. We can come do it right now. And she said, great. So I hopped in the truck and went and picked up my buddy, and we went and did this little job. It was little. I mean, I charged the lady like $100, but we drove all the way to the other side of town and knocked it out in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then, I don't know, it just started to snowball from there. And then, before you know it, I was getting slightly bigger jobs. I needed to recruit somebody else to help us. And, just real little by little, it just started to grow. Luckily I had a little money in the bank, because I wasn't really like living off of this income per se yet. I'd spent like the last, 5-6 years working on drilling rigs. But I had a wife and 2 kids, so it wasn't like I was saving a lot. I was able to sock away about $25,000. And that's when I bought a truck and started to think I could do my own thing. And it was so simple back then. I took my own calls, right? And wrote in a little calendar book, a real skinny little calendar book, the jobs and customers' names, and very little, I took very little notes, about the job,
And that brings you to us today. I still remember this. So John and I, this was what, 2 years ago at this point, right? Is that about right? So 2 years ago, we had a conversation, and John's like, yeah, that sounds a little bit much. I'm going to try my own sales for a little bit. So that was like October, I want to say, right? And then December, he calls me. He's like, so I tried this thing. It didn't work out too well. Why don't we give this a shot? It's kind of right?
It wasn't that. I mean, I had a guy who was doing sales for me, and he was doing great. He was a mover, and he got on the phone and he did good. But what I really needed him to do was kind of take over dispatch for me. Mm-hmm. That's what I really needed him for. And God, I'm so glad I did, because he is so good at just running the crews and managing all the day-to-day. And for him to do sales on top of that, it's a little too much. I mean, it would compromise our sales. So yeah, I just figured, let me get some dedicated salespeople, and yeah, sounds easier than it is. And then I was like, what, screw this. I'm going to call Yuriy and just let him and his people just handle it. And I'm glad I did, because it's just made life so much easier. I got my sales on one side and my operations on the other, and it's just
I mean, it helps to be passionate. John is passionate about what he does, and we're passionate about what we do. And it was definitely a match. I think it's been working out well. I mean, would you say?
Oh yeah, and and it allows me to do kind of what I want when I want, and as far as like, I like to get on the truck sometimes. That's how, remember when we actually got to meet.
Yeah. When you drove all the way down, that was cool. Like John was here. He was walking around like a kid at a candy store, literally. Like I don't think the smile came off his face the entire time he was here. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
We were all excited about that too.
it was awesome to see, what you're doing. It's cool to see other businesses and how they run their show and where they're doing it at. And no, I was like a kid in a candy store seeing your operation. You got a good thing going on. I like your building. I like how you got it all, how you got all the offices and little break room, and you gave me some ideas. I like what you're doing over there. You ought to be real proud of yourself, man.
And it's only a start. It's only a start. There's still so much that needs to be done. Like this is just the new thing we're doing, but I think we have a lot of things that are coming up. You guys are going to be excited about this stuff. So like for example, in a few weeks, I'm not sure when that episode is going to come up, but we actually brought this guy along. He's brand new. He's local. He's been working. Been mostly doing hauling. His name is Brian. Really nice guy, and we got him to agree to do this like a mini series, right? So he's doing one episode where he's just starting with us. Then we're gonna do another episode in about 3 months, kind of see where he is at that point, and then do another one in 6 months. So that way you're gonna have like this little series, okay, from the start to where we are 6 months later, and just in terms of progression and things like that. So I think it's going to be interesting, and we'd like to get a few companies that are going to be doing something similar. We're going to do this like a separate serious thing that's going to be part of our podcast, but it's going to be pretty cool. We like that. So
heck yeah, man, that's great. No, this is a great idea. I'm glad you're brave enough to do it, because I mean it honestly takes some guts.
I think you have to be. It's like in this day and age, you have to be creative. I mean, creative was always part of me in general. That I have that background, but like it's just makes it more interesting, makes it more fun, and why not? It's like you get to enjoy it a lot more. I mean, I love my job right now, so it's great. This is being able to do something creative just adds on to it. But the other thing too,
Yeah.
we're talking about obviously our current marketing situation and stuff like that. We've the previous episodes, we had a realtor on, so you guys if you haven't seen that, take a look at that, our conversation with Elliot. He talks about that, and he's a realtor on the East Coast. We're also gonna at some point bring on somebody that's on the West Coast that can talk about that as well. But for you specifically, John, with the current marketing conditions, where do you see your 2023? What's your feeling?
I mean, we're getting off to kind of a slow start, but I mean, it's just kind of a, January does that to you. It throws you for a loop every time, seems like, even though, it's gonna, it's gonna be slow, but I mean, it's starting to pick up. It's just kind of the first 2 weeks, but now it's starting to look a little better. But no, for the whole year, I'm totally optimistic that we'll have a better year even than 2022.
I mean, are you doing anything different? Are you doing anything different?
Well, one thing I'm going to get back into, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit it, but I, kind of fell off with the postcards for a little bit. Well, I ran out, and and so it's kind of a long story, but like back in 2020, I guess I got tired of my everything green trucks, green shirts. And I don't know who does this. I don't know, but I changed colors. I changed from green to blue. And, I'm like, you know what? I want blue now.
You're still good with blue?
I love blue.
I'm just checking.
I'm staying. I'm staying with blue. Look, okay. I'm never changing colors ever again. It's the hardest thing I've had to deal with, because everything around me is green and I'm trying to change everything. And part of it was all my sons, they're green. I got another company here in town that's green. There's like 3 green moving companies in town. I'm like, I've been around a long time too, but
that's an interesting thought. So for you guys out there, sometimes something even as potentially changing the color of your truck can make a difference, because I mean, I could see how that would make a difference, because if you do have like 3 other companies in town that have exactly the same color truck, you may be out there doing a job, but the people looking at seeing your trucks, they're thinking that it's somebody else and it's not you.
yeah, and
And that could be difference between getting more work and not. So I mean, I'm with you. That sounds like something that would interesting concept, but I like it. I think it's something that could work for some companies. Sure.
I think it's worked for us, honestly. I think when we roll up in that royal blue, it just looks clean. It looks nice. There's nobody else in our town that is repping those colors. So I think it's made a difference. I think it's kind of helped distinguish us from the rest. All my people would kind of get all my sons and us mixed up. Like, I don't know if it's the son and my last, Ferguson, and all my sons. So it's like, people don't, they're not as like into the business, or, they don't think about moving in all the companies every day like I do. And, so it's easy for them to get confused. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, it's been tough to make the switch, but I think it's been good. And I don't know. I just, that's what I was talking about, is the postcards. So all my postcards were green before, and now I'm like having to take new pictures of everything, new pictures of trucks and guys in their blues. And,
Well, maybe it's the best too. Maybe the newer pictures are going to be better. Maybe you didn't like something in the old pictures somewhere along the way, but they were already done,
Right.
So you weren't going to redo them at that point. But now you have an opportunity to redo them, making sure that they come out the way that you like.
And that's kind of what's been taking me so long to get postcards back going. It's like I need to.
We're waiting. We know we're going to get some more phone calls once that goes into effect. So we like that.
Yeah, give me like another week or 2 tops, and they're going to be flooding the streets, the postcards. And
that's awesome. I know Scotty's going to like it.
Yeah. Well, and another thing I might end up doing too is like some personalized letters as well, in between postcards.
I mean, anything to basically get attention. But guys, we're starting to cut down on our time here. We want you guys to be interested and tuned in. We don't want you to tune out. So John, it's been a pleasure once again. Thank you very much for tuning into our podcast. I would absolutely 100% love to have you on again. So maybe a little bit later in the year, we'll try to get you back on here.
Look, yeah, anytime.
Where the market is at the time. But once again, everybody, thank you very much for tuning into our podcast. Please like and subscribe below. If you want to be part of the podcast, please click on the Calendly link. Also, if you like to talk to me regarding what moving sales professionals can do for you, please join us. Please subscribe. Please please get on our calendar so we can set something up for you. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in to our podcast. Thank you and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.